Greetings, everybody. This is a special edition of News from the Pews. And it is special because it is Monday, Jeff, isn't it?
Is it? Is it Monday?
Yes, it is Monday. We are recording this live on Monday, March 20th, which is, people are going, why in the world are we doing it on a Monday? And it is because it's spring break, everybody. And we will not be in studio on that day. You'll probably be in.
I forget about spring break because my kids are grown now, so it's not even a thing anymore.
It's a very different feeling around this campus without those kids at our school. And but anyways, special edition also because before Thursday of this week is the blood drive, which we're going to touch on here in a minute. Yep. That'll be on the 22nd. But my distinguished guest of honor right here, hello. Jeff Christian. Thanks for coming today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. You are the Grand Knight. Of the.
No, I'm the Chancellor.
You are the Chancellor.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, Dan Weaver's the Grand
Well, I knew that, everybody. I really
don't have aspirations to maybe something to be the Grand Knight, but.
I did know that, Dan. Don't worry. I know Dan is watching and his head is probably red. But anyway, you are the Chancellor.
I am, yes.
Of Sacred Heart Council 822.
Correct.
Here at St. Joseph Parish in Shelbyville. We are in the coffee nook, by the way, if you're wondering where we are, the coffee nook of the Squirrel Den of St. Joseph Parish. There is a particular squirrel that spends a lot of time in here, and it's on the other side of this camera. But anyway, we are enjoying coffee right now in this coffee nook. Jeff, before we even touch on the Knights of Columbus and the blood drive and some of the current upcoming events and things, your story is fascinating. Just how God has worked in your life to bring you back to the church. Would you share?
Yeah, I like to say I got a literal sign to come back to the church. That was in thanks to actually one of my brother Knights, who's one of my neighbors, the Eversoles. They live kind of real close to me, and just kind of, I'm a cradle Catholic, as people like to call them. Grew up in the church, was very active as a kid, and even did youth ministry when I first moved to Indiana back in the early
Where were you
days.
born, Jeff?
In New York.
God love you.
Don't hold that against me. So.
Oh, what part of New York?
Long Island.
Oh my gosh.
Near the city, but I grew up in upstate New York, which is a lot like here. So it's very, rural and community oriented and stuff like that.
Sure.
But like I said, I did go to church, very active. I was even a Eucharistic minister in church, and rather in school, in high school, and altar boy all through the years. And as I became an adult, a lot of people know me. I DJ, and I got into kind of that scene, and kind of steered away from what I should have been doing. Didn't go to church. I was working on the weekends, and that was my excuse not to go to mass. The Eversoles I mentioned, they had a sign out in their yard that said "Catholics come home." I don't know if people remember several years ago. That was a big
campaign that was kind of not just across the archdiocese, but all over the place.
Oh yeah, and I saw that sign, and there was my literal sign. There's more to it, but I saw that sign. It kind of got me thinking, and
wow.
I knew there was something missing in my life. Some things were going on in my life that I really needed spiritual guidance for, and I worked every Sunday at my regular job. And it worked till 5:30. Well, of course, most masses anywhere near here, there's no Sunday night mass. So I found there was a mass up by my work in Indy that had a 6 p.m. mass. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to start going to that mass. Well, that one Sunday I went to mass. While I was in mass, there was a message on my voicemail when I came out from my godfather. As a matter of fact, he said, do you still go to mass? And I kind of chuckled and said, well, as of today, yes.
Yes, great time.
His daughter, who had a baby within the last 6 months, was needing a godfather for her child, and asked me if I wanted to do that. And man, was I humbled. I just she's essentially my third cousin who had the baby, third cousin had the baby, and I just was floored that I was asked for that, and that right there was kind of my second sign that I'm doing the right thing here.
The Lord brought you back by means of a literal sign in order to help another soul get to heaven.
Right.
I mean, that's what it's all about. Is we are one family, and we're all being signs to each other, even of let's go together to our Lord. And sometimes people look at some of those sign campaigns and things, and they scratch their heads and they think they're too embarrassed to put a sign out in their yard. It's like, hello, in the Old Testament they put blood on their doorpost. I mean, there's nothing wrong with putting a sign out, and you never know who might see it.
Yeah.
And you saw it.
Yeah, and that's kind of what involved me coming into the Knights. My grandfather was very, very active in the Knights of Columbus as I was growing up, and before I was born even. My father was in the Knights of Columbus, and I thought, what better way to help expand my faith, but be in a fraternity of Catholic brothers.
That's right.
So I started researching it and joined the local council here, and have since worked with them to do good things.
Before we get to the blood drive and a few things, we are coming up on a great anniversary for the Knights of Columbus, March 29th.
29th,
Of the year of our Lord, 1882.
82. Yep.
Yeah, just testing you.
That's okay. I got it in my paper in front of me, because that short-term memory is over. 1882, Blessed Father Michael McGivney.
Blessed because one step away from canonized saint of our Holy Church.
He definitely is deserving of that. That was in St. Mary's Church in New Haven, Connecticut. In the late 19th century, there was a lot of prejudice, anti-Catholic prejudice, especially in the East Coast.
They called it nativism. And they would burn down convents. They would burn down Catholic churches. They'd go after the Catholics.
Right. A lot of people aren't aware there was a lot of Irish slaves too, and most of them were Catholic. So when they came to the U.S., the fathers would take jobs in factories and coal mines and stuff like that, and they would unfortunately perish because of their job, because of the working conditions, and that would leave the families fatherless. Father Michael McGivney found the need to support those families because they didn't have any help.
And that's an aspect of the Knights that I think a lot of people don't know. I think a lot of people think, the Knights, that's that group of men that help the church, to support the church, which is definitely a huge piece of it, which I'm sure you're getting to, but that this group is also to help their families, the families of these men.
Yeah, that's how it started. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Our missions are of charity, unity, fraternity, and then patriotism is kind of the fourth, which is essentially our fourth degree, which is, I'll get to touch on that in a little bit.
So each one of those pillars is like, there's the first
charity.
There's the first order, the second order, third order, fourth order.
Yeah. So it used to be first degree was charity, second degree was unity, third degree fraternity, fourth degree patriotism.
Now I did all of my first three. I did it once.
Yeah.
That was in 2010.
Right. It's kind of changed. It used to be, and a lot of people used to think of the Knights of Columbus as a secret society and all that stuff. Kind of like the Masons and
right. They do.
Which in a way we kind of were. There was a lot of secretive stuff that was done behind closed doors. We weren't sacrificing goats or anything like that. Nothing crazy like that. We might have sacrificed a few beers or there, but no goats.
That is fast. Yeah, there was that secrecy.
But that's kind of gone away. I kind of came in at the tail end of that, and now it's when we do our degree, or we call it
induction.
No,
initiation.
Yeah.
I know what it's called too.
Okay, we bring them into the Knights of Columbus. We do a first, second, and third degree all in one ceremony. Actually, last Sunday, the St. Vincent's Council did one at St. Vincent's after 8:30 Mass. So if you had a chance to see that, that's awesome.
Just a little side note. So it's interesting. Shelby County, there's two exemplification. We got it. You got it.
This early stuff's not good.
We need more coffee in the coffee deck, don't we? There's two in Shelby County. There's two councils of Knights, and one is the Sacred Heart Council 822, and then the other one is the Father Seeger Council.
Yep, and I apologize, I'm not sure their number, but the exemplification used to be in three different, like you'd have a first degree, a second degree.
Right.
Now we do it all in one, and the families are invited, and typically it's done at a Mass. Where the families are invited. Didn't used to be, nobody was invited, it was just Knights. So they've kind of opened it up to families, which, there's been some of the older members, they're like, we want to go back to the old ways, but I think bringing the families in is kind of what we're about anyway.
That's right. If you look back at the origins of the thing,
So there's that. And then, so the charity is essentially giving back to the church, giving back to the community, and our fellow brother Knights. which obviously you see nights out and about doing different things around the community. We also give financially. We get requests every week from different organizations. I didn't mean to say it that way, but from different organizations.
Sure.
And we have to weigh, whether or not that's a good organization to give to. How does it, promote the Christianity and stuff like that too. That's one of the things we take into consideration.
Sure.
I know one of the organizations we've given to in the past, in a good way, or in a lot rather, is Clarity, because I know we've bought in the past, before my time, but they bought a
Ultrasound machine.
for Clarity.
I remember that.
Those are not cheap. You're talking 40 grand, I think, for one of those. So.
Yeah. My gosh.
So that's something that I know that we've given to, and I know other councils around the world, country and world to do that as well. So obviously we support, Right to Life, which is a very important thing in the Catholic Church.
So that's first degree, charity.
Yeah, it's charity.
Second degree,
Second would be unity. And
unity.
We're working together as Brother Knights. One of the things that we do is we give the people who are coming in a strand of string, and we have them pull it, and it breaks. And we have a big rope, and we pull it, and it doesn't break. But as you can see, you put those strands together, and it's a lot stronger. So.
My favorite image of that is, and it came to me one day, it was a snowstorm, and I saw kids fighting, or not fighting, they were throwing snowballs, snowball fight, and I thought, one flake on its own is pretty weak, it'll melt in no time.
Yeah.
Won't pack a punch.
Right.
But you put a bunch of those flakes together, pack them up, and man, that thinking. And I think that's the beauty of fraternity, the beauty of bringing people together, and we're stronger together, like the rope.
Absolutely. Yeah, but it just makes us stronger, like you said, stronger together rather than just one individual. It helps us do things better. Fraternity is how we support our Brother Knights. And
Wait, is that the third one?
that's the third one, yeah.
No, the third one is fraternity. Okay.
Yep, and that's how we support our Brother Knights and their families through, this is something a lot of people don't know about, is we have an insurance program and financial programs. So I personally do have the life insurance through the Knights of Columbus. It's actually very, very affordable. I was really surprised when I saw the premiums that I had. So my wife and I are insured through the Knights of Columbus. You do have options for your children too. They have all different, just like any other insurance, there's all kinds of insurance. It's all done through the Knights of Columbus. There's no other insurance agency involved. There's no other insurance. And I'm not trying to knock any of the other insurance agents in town, because I'm sure they do good things too. But for the Knights, this is a really, really good program.
What a blessing.
And they also do, and that kind of stems back to the taking care of the families, We also, if a Brother Knight happens to pass and they have children or whatever, we will help out and try and do what we can to help the family get through. I mean, it just goes back to the original ordinance.
Huge.
So,
And what's the fourth one again?
that would be patriotism.
Patriot for our country.
Yeah, so, and that's the fourth degree. Now, that's something that is kind of an extra step. A lot of Knights don't do, but some do. And that's actually a whole separate council. They're different. Like 822 doesn't have a fourth degree, and within it they have their own assembly. They call them.
That's right.
Their assembly is different. Like there's people in it from Franklin, Batesville, Shelby. They're from all over the place.
I'm the faithful friar.
There you go.
I'm fourth degree, so I'm the faithful friar for that, and then I'm the chaplain for Council 822.
Right. And I am planning on doing fourth degree, hopefully sometime this year, if my schedule works out to do a fourth degree exemplification. So, but
it's great, and the Knights are also. I mean, you guys are big time. Well, you guys, I'm one too. We are big supporters of vocations. That's one of the big markers in the priesthood in particular.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I was going to bring up. We do the support our seminarians.
Yeah,
that's one of the programs that we do when we do our state convention every year, which is coming up in May. We present a check to the state convention that goes to support our seminarians, which does just that. It supports the seminarians. I'm not 100% sure what the money goes to. You'd probably be a better one to ask about that.
Well, it's funny because as the vocation director of the Archdiocese, I mean, a lot of our programs and things that we do in the vocation office are funded by the Knights. Our council here has supported many times the race for vocations, supports our seminarians and their formation and all those things. And then I'm getting lots of different, hearing a lot about different vocation dinners and things that are going on. And so the vocation office, we're very close with the Knights. Yeah. And it is a great blessing to know that there's that group that just, they care so deeply and pray so fervently for priestly vocations. Yeah. And that's part of Father Michael McGibney's whole spirituality.
One of the things about being a Knight is you need to be a practicing Catholic. I mean, leaves basically, you know you've got good people.
That's right.
In the Knights of Columbus that are practicing Catholics. We
Practicing their
very
faith.
involved in the church, and I frequently see my brother Knights as Eucharist ministers. They're ushers. They're doing, they're around the church doing electrical work. They're doing whatever.
It's one of those things. It's like and that's what I think Father Michael McGivney had in mind too. Is there a need? Here's a group of men that will help fix it. We're here. And key example that comes to my brain is we just had a couple weeks ago the Super Bowl. I guess a month and a half ago, we had the Super Bowl party at the in the gym, and we had it on that huge screen which you Knights of Columbus installed. I mean, it's this humongous screen that comes down, and the back row projector and the sound system, and it is a marvel. And all that all I did was I said, Jeff, you think you could install a video system? Yeah. And the Knights of Columbus had it done in a month.
Yeah, that was
less than.
Took us a couple of weekends. We were in there.
It's amazing.
Probably about 15 or 20 of us all together when it was all said and done that contributed time to that. It was pretty involved. Luckily, we have some tradespeople in our group, so we were able to do some of that stuff. But we were talking about conduit and drilling through walls. There's all kinds of crazy stuff that you wouldn't even think. It's not just something you're going to do in a weekend.
Yeah. But it's a marvel.
Lifts in there, and it was crazy.
It is a marvel. Now, coming up, everybody, in just a few days, is the blood drive on the 22nd.
Yes. Yeah. From
so the blood drives we do them all the time.
Yeah. So this is the third year we're doing the blood drives since I've been involved. Back during COVID, one of the big things that was needed was blood because people weren't donating because they weren't going out. They were afraid to go out. They couldn't go out, whatever, because of COVID. So there was a huge shortage of blood. And Versity Blood Bank is who we work with. We have a blood drive. The first year we did 5. Last year we did 6, and this year we're doing 6 as well. We kind of space them out because you can only give blood so often.
Sure.
So we kind of space them out. We're doing 6 this year. On our website, which is Sacred Heart Council 822.org, which I'm sure in post-production we'll probably put that on the screen somewhere. You can go on that website. There's a little tab that says blood drive, and you can actually sign up on there. The guy who keeps the website up usually has the correct date on there for the next blood drive. So just click on that, and you can go to the link to sign up for the blood drive. I will say right now there's only about 5 spots left.
Isn't that great?
So we do take walk-ins because occasionally people are what they call deferred. They weren't able to give because of one reason or another. So if you walk in, typically they can squeeze you in.
They talked me into last month, they talked me into double red. I'd never done that before. And it's a very strange feeling because they're pumping all that cold saline back into you, but it's painless, everybody. But it was just a very strange feeling. I've always only given regular, blood.
Double red essentially is they're taking the red platelets, which it's essentially like giving twice. And that being said, you can only do it a couple times.
That's right. So I'm off the hook. I'm off the hook this month.
Yep. So I know a lot of people come over on Wednesdays to the Columbian Homes for the wings.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if you're going to be there anyway.
I always find it funny because I think, think about all the martyrs who actually literally shed their blood. Think about Jesus, of course, but the martyrs who shed their blood for the kingdom and for lives. And I think a lot of times we say, well, we're not called to do it that way, but sometimes we are. Like sometimes in our service to God in the church, you probably slit your finger open a time or two installing the projector and all that stuff and the screens. And we are called to shed blood sometimes for the kingdom. And here is a way to literally give our blood, literally give life.
Absolutely, yes.
There is a huge shortage of blood out there.
Yep. Yeah, and my daughter actually has a bleeding disorder, so that's one of the reasons I wanted to get involved with it because it's personal for me. So.
Yeah. What blood type are you, Jeff?
I am O positive, which is the universal. Yeah. I don't know. It's not universal.
I don't know what it is.
I think O positive or O negative. I can't remember.
I'm O positive too.
O positive, yeah.
I'm O positive.
Yeah. I think anybody can get. I think if you're O positive, you can get anything. I can't remember.
The funny thing is, I ask the person every single time, and they always answer me, and I always forget.
No matter what you are.
We want your blood, everybody. We want your blood. Anything else you'd mention, Jeff, coming up?
Yes, one of the things we do too is disaster relief.
Yeah.
We have the state council actually has a disaster relief. We'll call it Go Team. They have a trailer. Bill McDonald is down in Versailles, Indiana. He actually has a trailer ready to go with a generator and everything, and they just load up and go. I know since I've been involved, they've done stuff in Louisiana with the hurricanes. They've done stuff in Florida. And just all different places they've gone to help when needed. And even some of our local council guys have gone on some of those trips. G-Balt, which is that's one thing we support here in the state of Indiana, and that's Columbus. That's actually a home or a school / residence in Terre Haute, Indiana, for abused children.
Yes.
And the unique thing about G-Balt is they not only do abused children, but abusers. There are very few, I don't know if there's any other ones that deal with children who have actually abused. Those children need treatment. They need help, and more than likely they're abusers because they were abused.
Right. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that we support. It's all funded by the Knights of Columbus, G-Balt. It's all 100% by the Knights of Columbus. So they have their own board and everything. But if you ever want to learn about that, gbalt.org. It's GIBAULT. You can look them up if you want. And then Special Olympics is another thing we support, and that's kind of throughout the Knights of Columbus. But Special Olympics is something we support as well. So.
Wow. Somebody was trying to talk me into jumping into a cold pond.
Oh, that would be Michael Lewis, yes.
Michael Lewis was. Yeah, I couldn't remember who it was that was asking me, but it was Michael. Yeah. I fortunately had something else to do that day.
That would be the polar plunge. He's done that. He did that twice this year. I don't know that I'd do it once, let alone twice. Although I am a scuba diver and I have just dove in cold water, but with the wetsuit.
Yeah.
This is no wetsuit, so.
Oh my gosh.
God bless them, they do.
I might just put one final plug in. I mean, you have just highlighted so much of the good work of the Knights of Columbus, and what I think we're seeing is, and councils all over, is just a renewed effort of the spirituality of Father Michael McGivney. His beatification was just a couple of years ago. We watched it together and but if you watch on formed.org, you can use the parish access code, which is on shelbycatholic.org. There is a really good video about Michael McGivney, and it's a really, really well done video. It tells the whole story of how the Knights of Columbus came to be, and it just renewed my fervor for being a knight. Right. And I think don't you think every Catholic man ought to be a knight?
Absolutely.
I really can't think of a reason not to be.
That's kind of one of the things I wanted to end with is if you are a Catholic man and you want to join the Knights, which we'd love to have you. We'd love to have you join us, and that's either our council or St. Vincent's, whichever is more convenient for you. KofC.org. So it's KOFC.org. If you go there, you can actually sign up on there. Council 822 is our council. You can put that down, and then reach out to one of us. You see the Knights of Columbus all over the place. We have the Columbian Homes Hall down the road here. You can pop in there, and then we'll help you get into it. Get you rolling. One other thing, and I will have a QR code that you can add. You scan this QR code right here, and then you can do that, and you can join that way as well. That's all information about the Knights of Columbus as well. So.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thanks, Jeff, for being here, and really appreciate all you viewers watching, and please keep supporting the Knights of Columbus. God bless you all. We'll see you next time.